Hey everyone, and welcome. We are about to dive deep inside the tech that, let's be honest, pretty much runs our world. From the phone in your hand to the massive machines predicting the weather, they all kind of share the same DNA. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the key parts that make any computer system tick. I mean, we use these things every single day, right? But what is actually happening inside that box when you press the power button? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. And to really get started, we've got to realize that the word computer, well, it covers a lot more ground than you might think.
First things first, we need to get our heads around the fact that computer means everything from room-sized giants to the gadgets we carry around. The basic ideas are the same, but the scale, it is wildly different.
Yeah, and this slide just lays it all out, right? On one hand, you have supercomputers. We're talking massive systems, sometimes filling entire buildings, tackling huge problems like forecasting hurricanes. And on the other hand, you've got the personal computer, the PC, designed for just one person with its brain on a single little microprocessor chip. And, filling the gap between those two extremes, we used to have things called mainframes for big corporations and mini computers for smaller companies. You don't hear the term mini computers so much anymore, but they were a super important step in the story of computing. All right, so now that we have that huge scale in our heads, let's zoom way in. Let's focus on the computers that we all know and use every single day. The personal computers that started a revolution and brought all this power into our homes. And a personal computer isn't just one thing anymore, is it? It's the big desktop rig at your desk, the laptop you take everywhere, the tablet you use on the couch, and, of course, the super powerful computer that literally lives in your pocket, your smartphone. They're all personal computers, just in different shapes and sizes. Okay, now that we're all on the same page, let's get to the really fun part. We're going to peel back the layers and actually look at the physical stuff, the hardware, that makes a computer work. This is where the real magic happens. So let's pretend we're literally prying the side panel off a desktop PC right now. What do we see inside? Let's break down the most essential parts, one by one. First off, the case itself. And look, it's way more than just a metal box. It's the skeleton and the skin all in one. It keeps all the sensitive parts safe from dust and damage, helps keep everything cool, and just generally holds the whole thing together. And this is the absolute heart of the machine, the motherboard. Seriously, think of it like the body's central nervous system. It's this giant circuit board that everything, and I mean everything, plugs into. It's what lets all the different parts talk to each other. Without it, you just have a pile of expensive components. And plugged right into that motherboard, you'll find the CPU, the central processing unit. And if the motherboard is the nervous system, this thing is, without a doubt, the brain. It's the part that actually does the thinking, running the software, crunching the numbers, and managing pretty much everything. Now, every brain needs a place to work, right? A sort of short-term memory or workbench. And that's exactly what RAM is. It holds all the data for the apps you have open right now. That's why having more RAM lets you do more things at once. But here's the catch. It's volatile. That means the second you cut the power, poof, everything on that workbench is gone. Okay, but what if you want to upgrade your computer down the line? Maybe add some more oomph for gaming? Well, that's what expansion slots are for. They're these connectors on the motherboard that let you plug in new pieces of hardware, like a beefy new graphics card or a pro-level sound card. And speaking of connections, the motherboard is a great place to see how much things have changed. For instance, we used to connect our hard drives with these huge, clunky, wide ribbon cables called PATA. Total pain. But today, we use this tiny, sleek, and way faster standard called SATA for all our modern hard drives and solid-state drives. Okay, so we've got all this amazing hardware laid out. But you know what? By itself, it's just a really expensive paperweight. A collection of silicon and plastic. To make it do anything, we need the ghost in the machine. We need software. The absolute first, most basic layer of software is called firmware. You might have heard of the BIOS. This stuff is literally burned onto a chip on the motherboard. Its one and only job is to be the first thing that wakes up when you hit the power button and get the whole show started. And that firmware is what kicks off the whole boot-up process, which happens in a few lightning-fast steps. First, the firmware wakes up and does a quick check, making sure all the hardware is there. Then, a little thing called a bootloader goes looking for your main software. After that, your operating system, think Windows or macOS, loads up and takes over. And only then, after all that, can you finally click on an icon and launch an app. So that operating system, or OS, is really the manager of the entire show. It's the software that juggles all the resources, the CPU, the memory, the storage, and basically gives all your other programs a foundation to run on. We're talking about Windows, Mac OS, or Android on your phone.
And then, sitting right on top of that OS, you've got your application software. I mean, these are the tools we actually use every day, right? Things like Microsoft Office, photo editors, video games, and of course, the web browser you might be using to watch this right now. So we've talked hardware, we've talked software. But wait, there's one more piece to this puzzle. One more absolutely critical element to make any computer system actually work. And that last component? Well, it's you. Yeah, there's actually a name for this: peopleware. And it's this idea that a computer system isn't just the machine. It includes the human element, the skills of the person using it, the creativity of the people who programmed it, and the vision of the people who designed it. You know, Steve Jobs had this amazing way of putting it. He said, "A computer is a bicycle for the mind." And that just nails it, doesn't it? The computer itself isn't the genius. It's a tool that magnifies our genius. The hardware and software are just the frame and the wheels. We're the ones who decide where to go. So from those giant supercomputers all the way down to the phone in your pocket, every single part, from the silicon brain to the software that runs it, it all works together in this incredible dance. And we've learned that the most important part of that whole system is the person at the keyboard. It really makes you wonder, right? As this technology just keeps getting crazier and more powerful, what part will you play and what